Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check these headlines here. ETHGate, the hits keep coming. You're going to want every bit of it. How about Luna? Can Luna come back? We're going to hear from Dao Quan on that project. And Ripple SEC lawsuit, we got some updates for you. This is a moment in time where you win some and lose some. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen, everything we're talking about here today. And give us a follow us on TikTok at Digital Perspectives, no spaces too, growing rapidly over there. I'll tell you what's not growing is the crypto space right now. We've lost more than 5% on the crypto market cap, $1.294 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. It is abysmal out here. I hope you have the tummy of a buzzard. Right? The stomach of a buzzard, because right now you'll need it. Bitcoin, 28,900 plus, Ethereum, 1,900 plus right now. XRP is 40 cents. We are 32% off on the 7-day, 9.4 of that in the last 24 hours. Brace yourself, people. We might be going back down. Remember, we covered yesterday. Dark Defender from back in February had a macro chart. He showed us where the Elliott wave could go down and touch the 22-cent range again. Nothing is guaranteed, but we certainly want to be prepared for that kind of moment if it comes. Right now, ranging between 41 and 46 cents, you can see we are on the downside. Now, listen, it's a very high-risk, volatile market. It's why I tell you I have been hedging. Working with Clint has been an amazing time for me. I love it. I love it for myself, and it's why I share it with you guys. There's a link underneath the video, and we're going to look at some information right now that just proves I am tickled to death that I am hedging. And Clint is amazing. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a way to get gold. You can save, spend, and send every day, however you want to do it. I'm using it as a hedge, and I'm glad I am doing it. And I tell you, look at what's been happening. I saw some trouble coming, and I got to be honest with you, just like Kim.com, we're going to take a look quickly here. I see even more trouble coming, and that's why I'm hedging out of this high-risk crypto space, which I am heavily invested in, but I want to have some other areas of investment as well. This may be the most important thread that he ever made or put out here, and basically what he's talking about is the state of the United States and the global economy alike, and basically saying the United States didn't have a surplus or balanced budget in 2001. In the last 50 years, it only had 4 years of profit. In fact, all profit the U.S. had in the last 50 years wouldn't be enough to pay for 6 months of the current yearly deficit. He goes on to show here evidence that he's put together. U.S. spending debt has spiraled out of control, and the government can only raise the money it needs by printing it. He goes on to say here, the total U.S. debt, 90 trillion, U.S. funded liabilities, 169 trillion, combined with 778,000 per U.S. citizen, or 2,067,000 per U.S. taxpayer. Remember, the only way the government can operate is by printing more money, which means hyperinflation is inevitable. I do agree with that. The total value of all companies listed on U.S. stock market, 53 trillion. The real value is much lower because the U.S. has been printing trillions to provide interest-free loans to investment banks to pump up the stock market. It's a scam. Yeah, I think he's got it here. I got to be honest. Value of all U.S. assets combined, every piece of land, real estate, savings, all companies, everything, all citizens, businesses, entities, state-owned. He says 193 trillion here. The number is also full of air, just like the stock market. He says, let's do the math. 90 trillion for U.S. total debt. Unfunded liabilities, 169 trillion. Total, 259 trillion. Minus all U.S., which is 193 trillion. Balance, 66 trillion. That's 66 trillion of debt and liabilities after every asset in the U.S. has been sold off. Do you understand? I do. The U.S. is beyond bankrupt. This patient is already dead. The patient is now a zombie. You probably wonder, why are these things still going? Why didn't they all collapse yet? I wondered it 2 years ago. And I agree with him. Things are in a bad state, and that's why I'm diversifying. It goes for this too. However, I'm still loving this high risk environment for digital assets. And I love that, knowing that when things get crushed like this, I have an opportunity to deepen my bags in those projects that I believe in. All of this is not financial advice. I am sharing my digital perspectives. Jeremy Hogan shares his here, talking about, see the chart for the first blue arrow? That was Amazon crashing at the dot-com bubble by over 500%. The second blue arrow is the Great Recession crash, lost 55%. Crashes happen. Know what you own, and you will be fine with time. I didn't, hence I'm still working. And what a wonderful post I think that is, because it is a time to zoom out and really reanalyze everything in our portfolio. Listen, people are getting crushed, and there's a lot of messages I get where people have been absolutely devastated over things like the Luna Terra. Look, I'm upside down in it. But people really have to evaluate what's going on. And if you are hedging by DeFi and putting up your crypto to get more crypto or to do something else, be extremely, extremely careful, because I know some people have gotten liquidated and it has been devastating to them. So please be careful. Right here, this is Dal Quan from Luna Terra right here. He says, yeah, you're right. I got it wrong. He said, I'm heartbroken about all the pain and my invention has brought on all of you. He's now considering, I'm not going to read the article to you, but he's now considering bringing the project back without the US Terra stablecoin. I don't know what else he has in mind beyond that, but we will keep you up to date to that as it comes in, because I am obviously in that as well. I want to know what's happening. El Salvador buys the dip again and purchases 500 Bitcoin amid the crypto crash. Again, if you believe in where you are and what you're in, I don't have that much faith in Bitcoin for the long term, and I could be wrong, but that's where my risk appetite is, in something else like XRP or XLM. And others sit on the other side of the table and they say, you know what? I think Brad's crazy, and that's okay, right? And then for the moments that I think that I'm crazy, I have gold, right? And I have, investments in Masterworks and art and things of that nature. I'm branching out, and I'm glad that I have been. And then let's take a look at this, because this here is Natalie Brunell, who is on Fox. And I'm only going to give you a 3-second clip here, but listen what she calls Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is a digital property that...
Bitcoin is a digital property. Well, that's interesting. So look, I want to keep these subtle things that get said, I want to pay very close attention to them as we go forward. That is new, that phrase of calling it property. Now, I know the IRS has looked at crypto as property, but it'll be interesting. Remember, taxes on all of this crypto business is one of the final keystones that we have to have in place, where there is no confusion about what these assets truly are. Here's another decision that I've made. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase reported experiencing a major outage in the middle of the crypto price plummeting. This is one of many, many times I have seen this happen for Coinbase over the years here. And we're going to look at some information in a second that I think is just very compelling about Coinbase and what role it may have played for large early investors in ETHGate. 1 second on that one. But I do want to tell you, I believe that it is time for me to exit Coinbase. Now, it doesn't mean I won't use it to collect and buy assets, but I am moving my XRP holdings off of Coinbase. I am not giving financial advice, but I'm sharing again how my digital perspective has changed with the knowledge of what we see going on out here. I don't want to take the risk of Coinbase going bankrupt and something happening to my assets. Now, I realize that that is a fine print in a contract, and there's a great chance that that will not happen. But I'm not taking a small chance on it. I am already at my limit for risk appetite in this space. I am moving my assets. Here we go right here. The USDC reserves are 77.1%, $39 billion in U.S. Treasuries, and 22.9% in cash, which puts it at $11.6 billion. The reserves are worth $50.6 billion and match the amount of USDC in circulation. It is also highly regulated, and it is also what I have been calling for probably almost a year or more now, the unofficial retail U.S. basic digital dollar for the American citizens and the world at that point. And I believe it won't be much longer before you see that crown placed on Jeremy Allaire and USDC's head. Right here is some good news. So I'm sorry to put so much ice water in your veins going through this, but take a look at this. Ripple user Boss Money IDT is expanding remittance services through Ethiopia. This will do this using Ripple partner TerraPay. The service will allow direct deposits into 40 million bank accounts across 17 banks. That's very good news. Let me tell you some other good news. I covered this yesterday as well. We saw James Wallace from Ripple tell us, courtesy of Leonidas, that they are also doing a Ripple central bank pilot for Nigeria and a few other countries in Africa as well. That is very, very exciting. Don't forget about Mojaloop. I covered that last week as well. Go watch those videos. There's major things happening in Africa all around in many different levels with Ripple and the use of XRP. Now let's take a look at this right here, because one of the burning questions that remains here, and first of all, I want to shout out Charles Gasparino, Eleanor Terrett, Liz Clayman, and everybody on the Fox Business team that have really put the time in, and Rosalind Layton from Forbes as well, who have really put the time in to cover what is happening with ETHGate and all of this. Now, they have a much higher threshold for how deeply they can go and how fast they can go into this thing. But I assure all of you, they are watching and monitoring what is going on in this space every single day, and I'm grateful for them. John Deaton asks, may I suggest simple, non-controversial question to pose to the SEC and Hinman? 1, did Hinman submit a draft of the speech to the Ethics Office for conflict screening? 2, if so, was it the final version he actually gave? Was ETH included? He agreed to do so. Here is the question. To all of the people that were in the email chain of the drafts for the Hinman speech, someone needs to come up with the integrity and the courage to acknowledge for everyone else whether the ETH free pass was included in that speech before William Hinman gave it. Or did he walk out there and throw a curveball and decide to go rogue and put it in on his own? We need to know that answer. Now, here's another thing. This is, I think it's Dahlia or Dalia, however you say it, Dahlia or Dalia Blass, formerly of the SEC. She was really appointed over the Ethereum ETF, appointed by Jay Clayton, right? And here's the interesting part, is that she ends up going to work at BlackRock. These things are so tied together, and you're about to see something else that is just quite astounding. And I think it's absolutely spot on here. And she ends up at BlackRock, right? Just a few weeks after, it's just unbelievable. Honestly, it really is. But this is what I want to bring home here. And it's DAI, digital asset investor right here. We all know him, the GOAT. And I think he's absolutely crushed it right here. He says, Bitcoin ETH free pass creates the monopoly for token issuance in DeFi. Coinbase is then allowed to go get an IPO so insiders can cash out. Price crashes. They go after the exchanges using Coinbase as the poster child for any non-ETH DeFi. In comes Wall Street to save the day. What am I missing? Not a damn thing, DAI. I think you just nailed it right there. And that can't happen without regulatory capture. And I absolutely believe there has been regulatory capture of the SEC, from Jay Clayton to William Hinman. And I also believe that Gary Gensler is absolutely complicit in those actions myself. Now, that is my belief, and we will see how all of this shakes out. Let's change gears right now. It's the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. We got a couple things to tell you about. One is Ripple and the SEC filed joint motion to request time extension in ongoing lawsuit. Delay. Whether it's joint or whether it's, the SEC, this thing to me has been put in a bullpen because I believe somebody or somewhere know exactly what is coming. Potentially. And I'm not suggesting that, it's all, look, there are certain, like I said, there are many different perceptions to these things going on out here in this space. And I have to say, when I see things like this, I believe that there's more talking going on behind the scenes than we're aware of. Parties filed joint requests for extension of time regarding the attorney fees connected to Met's and supplemental report. But here's where the news really comes in. Ripple cites 4 reasons why the SEC did is wrong. Let's get into that now. James K. Filan shared with us that the Ripple defendants file response to the SEC client privilege claims regarding Hinman's speech and notes. Remember, they have taken many different positions through the course and journey of this case. And somebody could lay it out. It's Jeremy Hogan right here. Matthew Solomon continues to amaze him and all of us. He takes the findings that the speech was Hinman's personal opinion and shoves it down their throats pretty hard here. The SEC really messed that up. How can Hinman receive legal advice from SEC lawyers for a personal opinion? Yes, and let's take a look at this because it is fantastic. This is wrong for 4 reasons. First, Matthew Solomon says, the record in this case demonstrates that Mr. Hinman delivered his speech in his personal capacity. He sought input from the SEC colleagues as to how best to package his remarks. That certain colleagues discuss legal concepts in some of their responses does not imbue them or other communications with any attorney-client privilege. Second, circuit law makes clear that the advice on policy or messaging issues, even from lawyers, is not protected by the attorney-client privilege. Second, while Mr. Hinman was entitled to communicate with the SEC lawyers and to receive privileged legal advice when discharging his role as the director of corporate finance, communications about the substance of his personal remarks are not within the scope of any such attorney-client relationship. Third, the communications at the issue involve no confidential information concerning the agency that would be protected by the attorney-client privilege. Finally, even if the SEC could establish the elements of the privilege, which it does not, the SEC at most would have identified a privilege claim that it lacks standing to assert because the privilege would belong to Mr. Hinman. Wow. So basically what he's done, as Jeremy Hogan here says, Solomon also plays a veteran move in responding to the SEC and argues that only Hinman has the standing to even raise the privilege and not the SEC. It's a good legal work to take an issue down to a basic premise. Is this even the proper party to object? Come on in, King Solomon. What a legend. Look, that's going to do it for me. This is where we are on this day. Head on a swivel. This is crypto. You never know. Check out all the links underneath the video, the great products and services I use each and every day. And I'll catch all of you on the next one.